Good morning. This is Dr. Bill White again, and I want to talk to you a little bit more about primarily uprighting teeth is what I want to get across and show that every dentist ought to know how to upright teeth. It's ridiculous to try to make a bridge on a tooth that's leaning like this when you can upright the teeth so easily. Now this particular case that I'm going to go through here has a whole stack of problems. I didn't write much of it down in the heading up here, but I will discuss each one as we go along. But I did put in the mouth breathing problem. She has a kind of a impacted molar that's finally just laid over flat, and we had to pick it up at the end of the case. And then she's got an ankylosed molar in there that we are dealing with at the same time, and there's a mouth breathing problem that's causing a crossbite in here, and we had to use a palatal separator, and I don't even have a picture of it in. I have one picture of it after we got through with it, but it's a most interesting case, but it has a stack of problems, and I'm going to tell you that before we get started here with this. But let me go ahead and get going so it won't take us quite so long to do this. There's a nice little girl, and this is just a picture of her when we started, and this case took me quite a while to do, and I started it in the mixed dentition, and there was no place to quit. And frequently, well, I say frequently, but quite often, you'll start a case. It should be a two-phase thing, and you can't get through with the things that ought to be treated until finally they get all their permanent teeth in, and you've got to go ahead and finish the case. So it took me several years to do this case, but we got a good result out of it. I think you'll see that at the end. But here she is to start off with. Now she's she had to be a mouth breather, and the maxilla is not its normal size. And you see we've got a crossbite on this side. I think these teeth aren't in crossbite, but they're setting cuspid to cuspid. And then there's she had some kind of oral surgery problem that I didn't ever find out exactly what brought that about, but she's got a bunch of clips in her tissue on her cheek over here. And I went ahead and finished it and never did know exactly what those things actually did. All right, here on the right side of the mouth, we don't have it's kind of a cusp to cusp. I think she shifts her jaw to one side so she can chew better, so that is causing the condyles up here and the fossa to develop improperly, as we've talked about before. You know, people be a mouth breather and their maxilla doesn't develop, and so they shift their jaw so they can chew better, and they do this when they're young, and the whole condyle fossa mechanism changes on them, and when they get 14 or 12, 13, 14 in there, and you decide you're going to do their orthodontics, that part never is corrected. And if you watch people on the news, I mean, people that have beautiful straight teeth, and frequently their face will be to one side slightly, and that's my opinion, that they had this happen to them. So you have to get in here early to do this, and that's another point for the pediatric dentist being able to do these little things in orthodontics early, and you need the correct function the day you see it. And so I've talked about children growing up and nursing for years and having good teeth. We can't make everybody do that, but maybe we'll come up with some of these little pacifiers that kind of replace that. But I don't think it's happening right now. All right, this side is fitting all right. We turn on the other side. On the left side now we've got a crossbite in here. So we're going to put in a palatal separator and expand this whole upper jaw so it fits over the lower jaw, and that we have to bring the roots. Now we are putting a palatal separator on a permanent 6-year molar and 2 deciduous teeth. I don't show it here, but I'll show you the palatal separator later on. I took a picture of it. When you're busy and working hard, it's hard to stop and photograph everything you'd like, and you only maybe you'll take 10 pictures and you might show one of them. So it takes up a lot of your time photographing things, and I always took the photographs myself because I couldn't trust the ladies to get in the picture what I wanted in there. So that's a time-consuming thing. And back when we had to take the negatives and everything and take them and get them developed, and you get them back, and you had to take what you got, the digital pictures were one of the biggest helps in doing this. All right, let's get on now and see. So here we put a palatal separator in, and these are 2 deciduous teeth, and you can put a doggone palatal separator on deciduous teeth if they've got enough root structure in there, and push them out, and that will carry the permanent buds out that are under the teeth. Now, the second molar on one side came out. I couldn't get to them because the palatal separators put in so early, and this second molar didn't go out, and I didn't come in, and that was my fault, and band that tooth. So you'll see that is a problem, but it doesn't show anything on the treatment. Now on the bottom, these are the 4 anterior teeth. So you can tell, I mean, this is didn't develop like they normally would. If you're a chronic mouth breather, the tongue will push the lower teeth out, but it's still in a crossbite over on this left side right here. This is going to take me a while to explain this as we go along. Now you watch, this was taken in 1982, and I worked on this young lady for several years. I went in, I had to get in, and like as a 2-phase thing, you go in here, and it's best if you say, well, I'm going to do this, this, and this, and have the parents know that. When you get through with that, you stop and just put it in a retainer, and then you come back when the permanent teeth are in there and finish the case up. But you did the things that really needed to be done early, and it's almost impossible for a pediatric dentist to send somebody out as much as they really would need to. Now some pediatric groups are getting together, and they bring an orthodontist in, and they kind of pay him a salary or something to do these little things. And that's ridiculous in a way, but that's one solution to it. But you got to have a big group of people to do it. If you're a pediatric dentist out here by yourself, you need to know how to do these simple orthodontic things. I say simple, they're not so doggone simple. You know, you really need to understand orthodontics to get in there. And it is ridiculous they don't teach the pediatric dentist how to do. There's a whole bunch of preventive and interceptive procedures that need to be done by the pediatric dentist. And I'm going to stick by that. And I wish to goodness the head people in the pediatric would see that and go after it. And so I do not feel bad about pediatric. I've worked with several pediatric dentists, good ones that worked, and we taught together a lot. And in the American Orthodontic Society, they have pediatric dentists take a real leading part, really, in working at it. And so we are very hoping that the Pediatric Society will start doing more orthodontics and don't feel guilty a bit. I mean, it's something they need to do. And I've harped on that maybe enough. I'm going to hack off a bunch of them maybe. But I used to teach for different pediatric groups. And one of them especially, Dr. Roy Wolf up in St. Louis, I went up, he had a huge study club, and I spoke to that group numerous times, you know, interceptive and preventive procedures. All right, here's this little girl's cephalometric deal here, and it's her jaw and everything's in pretty good shape, pretty good. This position is not bad to me, and so we won't try to change that, but you could change it if you need to. Now here is the palatal separator that we use, but I don't have a picture of it, and it's sitting on the teeth over here, and you can see how far this side went out. So we expanded it from here out to there, and so the palate, the upper palate's a lot wider than it was, and it got rid of the crossbite, and that allows the jaw to center back up again, and the condyles and the fossa won't grow to one side, you see. If you leave it alone for several years and they're eating out kind of to the side, then it's going to stay out there. You can't hardly get it back over there after they get after it's pretty well grown. All right, here we jump ahead now. We're in 86 right now, and so this is several years after we started this case. But you needed to get in there in these deciduous teeth, separate the palate, open the airway, get them breathing properly, and doing all these things. And when you remember, when you separate the palate, you need to bring the roots of the teeth out. If you need to do that, then you do that with a rectangular wire here, putting some buccal root torque in the case. I'm sorry, it'd be this way. You have to raise it up and stick it in there, and then that makes this root want to go out here. Now you have to have something strong enough to hold this wire out here and bring the cheek out, or this buccal root torque up here will end up being lingual crown torque. If you have a puny wire in here, it'll go in. But we know how to handle that. We put the big wire on top of that. And a lot of times we don't have to do that if we're just in a small, don't have to go a long way with it. Okay, let's hurry on through. The rest of this is just regular orthodontics, which we've got gobs of this in videos here if you want to learn it. But I think I'm talking more to people who do a lot of orthodontics, and I need to go through a lot of the simple stuff and just forget it and talk about it. Now, the bottom we have straightened out and lined it all up. It was crowded. You remember in here how crowded it was, and we've developed the arch in that area. Now, I've got a whole string of panorexes on this young lady, and I want to show this. Now, these clips that are in the cheek, apparently she had something wrong in there. I never did find out exactly what it was, whether they went in and clipped the arteries or something in there. Now, this tooth is ankylosed, and it's in a pretty good position, but we never could straighten it. I didn't go in and crack it loose because it was almost correct anyway, and the roots are really short on it, so I didn't want to mess with it too much. So we left it leaning like this, and then this is a second molar, and I don't know how it got way back there, but we bring it up here, and it's going to end up laying down in this area, and we have to correct that. And there's a wisdom tooth develops back behind that, you see. Now, how this space got in there, the 6-year molar up here and the second molar back there, I have no idea how it got there. Now, the other side, the second molar's in the correct position, and this is 1982 when we just got started on the case, and this is a complicated case. But this is the kind of case you learn a lot on. I mean, you just really have to get with it. I mean, you do not go in. This is so ridiculous to think you can do all this stuff with a little plastic shell you put over the teeth. And you can't do any comprehensive orthodontics with it. And so I want you to, people that I teach, I want you to be darn good orthodontists. I don't want to have anybody that's just in here to make a lot of money and turn out as much junk as they can turn out. I want people that really take pride in what they do. I mean, you're given a piece of canvas here, and you want to put a picture on there that is really worthy. And so that's what I hope most of the people that listen to this or go with it are. So anyway, let's go. This is the first panorex, and we've got a whole string up. Now, we worked on this a little bit and then put a retainer in there and continue to go ahead and work on it. This is 1984 now. We've been in there since 82. I believe that's when we started. Now, these clips keep showing up, and they had to be out in the cheek. I never saw them. They never interfered with anything we did, but they showed up in the pictures in there. And so we're going to come in and do several things here. Now the teeth are coming in. It's a little bigger, but we are going to have a crowded problem bringing this down. You know, even if they lose this and gain some space, this isn't going to still have enough room for the cuspids to come in the mouth. And down here we've got another kind of semi-crowded problem getting these 3 teeth up in between this gap right here. Now, this tooth is closer in this panorex, but it has begun to lay down. This is all under the tissue, and I could see that it's going to be a problem. Well, here the wisdom teeth are forming, and this second molar looks pretty good here that it can come in. But at this point, we don't have room in there, and never did have room for their wisdom teeth. But all 4 wisdom teeth formed at this time. Now, this is 1984. I don't have her age up there. I should put that up. But this is something you're dealing with these young kids. You've got to go in and correct problems early on. Now, here it is in 1985, and we're opening this gap up. You see, this cuspid's got more room. This one does too. And we can bring those teeth into place. Now we've expanded the lower arch. We did the palatal separator up here and separated this thing and got room in here to line this up. And the lower's coming in too. So they are looking all right. Now this root is completely resorbed. So this tooth may have, it is the one that's ankylosed, but it ate some of the, excuse me, the tissue away and ate the root away on that tooth right there. Okay, I don't show the palatal separator. I wish I had gotten pictures of it, but you just can't take enough pictures when you're in there and you're busy, and I tried to do them all myself, and later on we had somebody do them, and you got something, but it wasn't exactly what you needed. Now this second molar, as it came up here, it got hung up in here, and the darn thing, instead of turning up this way, it just lay down like it was tired. And now there's a wisdom tooth forming. There's something forming up here, and there's a wisdom tooth coming in here and up here. All 4 of them are coming in. It's 1980, 85, and we've been working on this young lady. And you don't do much work, but you got to watch it and keep up with it. So this is the 5th Panorex that we have taken. You can see up there. All right, here it is in that's later in 85, and this tooth is really hanging over here. Now, a lot of people would look at this and say, "Oh God, I can't straighten this tooth up." It is easy, really. You can go in. You got an arch wire in here. You can bond something on the side of this tooth and put a spring in there like that and have a deal coming out here, and you can put a hook on it and come up and hook it over this right there. And if you want to add more force on it, you can put an optical plier, double optical plier, and have a bar underneath here and the trough over here, and you mash it, and this part will go down like that. But you can't try it in when it's that much. But you can add to the pressure to pick this tooth up as much as you want. And you can have this tooth, it'll push this wisdom tooth out of the way and come right on up in there. And that's, we put a deal in there like that. And I think every dentist ought to know how to do that. And just a leaning tooth, you make a bridge, you can just put something on there and cock that thing up. So easy. And they try to cut this tooth leaning over, cut it down so you can get a parallel crown placing where you can put the bridge over and the blooming tooth is sticking out one side. And I did some of this when I didn't know how to straighten them up. Now, I did orthodontics ever since I started practicing in 1955, and in 1956 I did my first orthodontic case. Now I grew up, my mother worked for one. I went to school and would go sit in the office and ride home with her, and I have an uncle that was orthodontist, so I have just been into orthodontics ever since I was been a kid. So I just started it. I couldn't get into orthodontic school. I had too many kids, and they wanted me to give up my practice. And so I just decided I would learn it by God on my own. And I've had help from a lot of good orthodontists doing that. So anyway, I want to help as many people as I can learn how to do good, comprehensive orthodontics. And that's what my objective is in doing this. Now we're going to bond something on this tooth right here that would go out, and we raise it up here, and it'll take this tooth right out of that spot. And I don't give a darn how old they are or anything or what's in the way. Do not grind them off. They'll come up and push the other tooth out of the way to come up and level back off out of it. So anyway, let's get on with it. This is number 6 Panorex, and here's number 7, and this is 1986. And here this tooth is. Now that looks like it's on top of the tooth, but it's over on the side of it. You've got to get on the side of the tooth, and if it's bonded right up the top, it doesn't matter. And as the tooth comes up, it moves backwards because the roots are down here in the bone structure, and then you push on the crown, and the roots went out there. Let me go back and show you where it was. Now you see where it is there, and here it was even worse before we started, and we're going to bond something over on the side of that tooth, and we raise that up and put it on the archway over here. It's just like putting a prize over there. But I see so many ridiculous things. People trying to upright that tooth, sticking something down in here and pulling it over here, and you chew on it and mess it up. You just put this on. It's simple. And come out with a little circle like that, and you can't activate it too much. You got to try it in to find out where you want to put your hook. So once you get it in there, then you take a optical plier. You get up as close as you can with the ring down here and the trough up here, and you mash it, and it'll bend that wire like that. So it's from here up to there, and you can put all the force you want to on that tooth, and it'll push anything out of the way back there to come up. All right, here it is. It's up like that, and we're going to hold it with this and pull on it, and we'll bring it forward. There's hardly room for this 12-year molar to get in here, so we had the wisdom teeth extracted on this case pretty early. I don't see this one right here now. This one, you can see it later on. Now that's 7, and here it is. Just I blew that picture up so you could see. And this little spring is hooked on, and it slides back as the tooth comes out, you see. So put your hook right behind one of your contacts. And if you're finished doing everything, and a person comes in with a wisdom tooth tilted and they've got plenty of room, you can put one of these on and just bond a wire on several teeth. About 3 teeth, about all it takes. But on your spring, when you put this hook on it, get right behind one of your bonds, because this is going to move back as this tooth comes out, and it'll virtually always have a space in there. And then you keep this pressure on it and pull it up, and you bring the roots with the crown. Now this is not a complicated thing to learn, and you may look at something like that and throw your hands up and say, I will never be able to straighten that up. But you can. And if you know what to do, It is much easier, and once you do a few of these, it's no problem. You just get somebody in and etch that tooth. Sometimes I take electrosurge and trim the tissue away from the tooth and bond onto the tooth. Just get on the side of the tooth. The bond has to be at least somewhere. You can't put it up here. You put it on the side, and you put that prise on it, and that thing will just back out of that hole. And I'm going to erase that and go and show you that again. Now, there's where it was, and here's first, and we pulled it up. We got it up there pretty good, and we keep that force on it, and we pull it forward, and we bring the tooth up parallel, fitting in here. Now, this upper 12-year molar's dragging its feet. This is get it down in there. There's not room in here for this, and we hardly have room for the 12-year molar. And this is a young lady, and at the age she is, she's not going to grow much, so I take these teeth out so I can better position the 12-year molars. So otherwise I keep the wisdom teeth if I possibly can in case something goes wrong. Now I could have extracted this and moved this up and brought this in, but it would have made the case go a lot longer than it did, and it went for a long ways as it was. And I'll show you this tooth after we get through. It looks good, and we kept it. Alright, here the tooth. This tooth is headed back in the other direction now. I may have had too much force on this prise before I took it out, and now we're going to send her to an old surgeon or somebody, I don't know, took those teeth out. Now at this time she is 11, almost 12 years of age, and this is 87. So we started at 82 when this young lady would be 5 years back. In other words, we've been working on it. Now I haven't worked a lot at any of that time, but it takes time to do that, and it's ridiculous for the pediatric dentist that's taking care of this to send this. If you're just by yourself, it's almost impossible to go back and forth to an orthodontist and get something done. Now, where you have a group of pediatric dentists and they hire an orthodontist to come in there and work with them, that's different. But they still don't understand the orthodontics. The pediatric dentist ought to know what the orthodontics will do and how to do it, and if he does it, that's the only way to really learn it and tell what you're doing. So I want the Pediatric Society to get off your rear end and learn orthodontics and quit being put down if you think you're doing orthodontics. The heck with it. Get in there and start doing it. And the people who are university trained orthodontists, they ought to be doing this complicated adult stuff that there's just a world of it out there and it goes untreated. And a lot of it does. There's a few. Now, I had some wonderful people, orthodontists, that helped me and helped get me training and stuff to know what to do. But orthodontics ought to be known to some extent. Whether they do it or not, they ought to know what can be done, because there's some real ridiculous things that are done to people because they don't know that they can move the teeth, they can intrude them, they can slide them, they can straighten them up. You can do this darn anything you want what's within reason. Now when you take this tooth out, this tooth can straighten up, and that was one reason, getting this out of the way and let this come in. And this tooth right here, if you get it to develop good, you're going to need to remove this. and get this one out of the way. So we had them take the wisdom teeth out. This is number 9, and they're almost 12 years of age. Now, if you had waited till you were 12 or 14, this would be a major screwed up case. It would be very difficult to come in and do it right. And you would have the doggone condyles and fossils would have grown in a wrong position, and you can't hardly change it and get them to go back. So this is why you need to get on the cases early, and you need to be there where you can do the thing. Now this is now 87, and this is a 10 months, almost 88, and the young lady is 12 years and 5 months, and we've got all this stuff setting in there pretty good, and we're going to keep saying we're going to get them out. We haven't got them out yet, but this tooth can't hardly sit in here correct. You know, the root would be right here. Now, if you forced it down and pushed this out of the way, but then we don't have room enough in here to bring this tooth in, and she is, at this age, a young lady is not going to grow much, and her jaw's not going to grow hardly at all, and so we went ahead and sent her in and got her wisdom teeth out. I don't know who referred it to me. I probably referred it back to them, and they got the wisdom teeth out for me. Okay, this is Panorex number 10. Now, I know you think, my God, how many pictures are you going to take of this guy? But I really need it. Now, this tooth is ankylosed, but it's in a good position, and you can look at it when we get through with the case. It looks pretty good. So anyway, let's get on with it. Now, this is Panorex. I can't tell, but I guess it's number 11. She's 13 and 7 months now, and we are out of the case, and we still haven't removed the bloomin' wisdom teeth, and this tooth is hitting right here, and that tends to correct that, and it's better than it was, but we need to get rid of these teeth. So hope we get them out on this next go round. Let's see. All right, they are gone here. Now this tooth can straighten up in here, and this will come out like that. And this is in a good class 1 relation now. And we've been in this case. It's 1989, and we started in 82. So you don't just jump in there and do it and finish. But we've got a good set of teeth here that this young lady will carry through life. And we'll put good retention on it, and we'll hold it. And she'll at least wear this retainer and at night and sleep for years if it tends to move after that. This ankylosed tooth held up and did good. It's still in good shape. So this case had a whole stack of problems, and I didn't list them all to start with. Now here she is after we worked on her for all this time. And this is her teeth, and they were nothing like that. And these teeth look good. I don't know what, this is something on that tooth back there. So it doesn't look too good. But when we turn over here some decalcification or stain that's in the tooth, I don't know exactly what it is, but the teeth are erupting together. And the good retention, you just hold the teeth in place and let the teeth come together and meet each other. And the finish of an orthodontic case is done in the retention. And this, I saw an article in here. Somebody was talking about long-term retention, and they were using little old plastic shells. Now, the plastic shell is the same thickness all the way out. The molars hit before the front teeth out here. And those plastic shells keep the teeth from coming in and really milling in like a set of valves in a car, so that they really fit. And you've got to do your retention, and you don't want any darn wires coming over the occlusal surface because they're going to bite on the things. And when they got the retainer in, they bite on. When they take them out, the teeth move back. So you got them going backwards and forwards in there. So you don't want, unless you ground the tooth out and let the wire through it where they closed and didn't touch it. But you do not need them. The wraparound retainers will stay in, and I can make them stay in where you can't or take them out by just simply putting some good composite underneath the edge of a couple of teeth on each side. They have to snap them in or snap it out over those things. Now, let's look. Here's another tooth in here, and it's, well, something happened here, and I can't advance the deal. I think the little arrow messed up somewhere. But anyway, we'll just stop here. This case worked out good, but it took a long time to do it. And I thank you for watching it, and maybe you will learn something from it, or maybe some of you know more about it than I don't want to go in here. I don't know what the heck is wrong here. I can't seem to find anything to do. Let me see. Alright, let me put this up again. Alright, let me see if it works. Alright, yeah. Alright, with the palatal separator that we had, just showing it out. Now this I separated when it was just in the end, and this tooth I never did get the separator on it, and I didn't go in and band it to try to get it out, and that's a mistake I made. I should have done that, and I didn't. So, but you can't see it too much. And here was the starting part of the lower arch, and there's where we ended it. And here was the young girl when we started, and here she is when we finished. And she's quite a bit older, but she has a real nice set of teeth, and this will make her life a lot better. And that's what you try to do in orthodontics. Think about doing the best you can possibly do with all these cases. And I'm going to hush up now, and I hope to I hope people will look at it and do it. So I've been in here a long time, but this was a complicated case to do, and you're not going to do it overnight. I can tell you that to start with. And if you do it right, you're going to have to stay in there and work with it to do the case like this. So thank you for watching, and I'm going to try to close this thing out.